the talk show that's getting you talking. You're with Brian Kilmeade.
I don't take it seriously. I mean, we've been down this road before. Hamas's position has been pretty steady. Since the last hostage release last year, their position has been hard, fast, that they'll only deal with complete Israeli withdrawal and cessation of all military activities. That has been their position. I'm assuming that's the direction they're heading, and this is more a fig leaf than anything else.
So they talk about Hamas says they want an end to the fighting now that Donald Trump has won the election. What does it actually mean for the people in Israel? Is it a real overture to end the violence? Zavika Klein is the editor-in-chief of the Jerusalem Post, kind enough to come in studio. Zavika, great to see you.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hamas's latest posture since the election is?
They've been kind of quiet. I mean, I think, first of all, the IDF eliminated most of its leadership, right? So it's kind of, obviously their social media is still working, but they're not, actively responding very quickly or.
Are there rockets into Israel still from
all
Hamas?
The time
From Hamas.
From Hamas and from Hezbollah and from Yemen, from Iraq, even from Jordan. There was like a one time kind of thing.
How were they able to get rockets? Well, you guys, because you clear but you don't hold, right? So you clear and they'll just reconstitute.
100%. And it's just like, it's crazy. I mean, it's more than a year now of just seven, literally, it's not like metaphoric, 7 fronts of nonstop attacks against Israel. It's just crazy.
But the progress you're making militarily seems to be substantial.
It is substantial, but again, it's 7 fronts, and there's lots of money that has been invested for years, in Hezbollah and Hamas, tunnels, drone attacks. And by the way, also drone attacks are semi-new to the warfare, so the effectiveness of shooting them down is limited. But also, the fact that you ask me if we're still being shot at is because of the Iron Dome and all these other amazing inventions that are shooting them down. So a lot less people are being killed, but people are also being killed. But we got used to this situation where we're shooting them down, but we're still being shot at.
Yeah. So Iran promises they looked at what you did and with your bombing retaliation, and everyone's like, well, not too bad, 100 aircraft, 20 sites, and they looked around and go, well, it is bad. Yeah. They took out almost all their missile defense.
Well, their public reaction, first of all, was nothing happened. Then it was like, oh, it was only in certain. There was a very slow release of what they say, and they still haven't really, admitted to the harm that Israel has done there. But that said, Israel has definitely, according to many sources, harmed their air defense system. So, in a sense, and also the entire, the operation in Iran was about 4 hours. So imagine 4 hours, Israeli Air Force just doing whatever they want.
Right.
But actually especially because of the Biden administration, being very cautious and very focused on specific targets, as opposed to probably what others in the Israeli government would have wanted.
So when the IRGC says we're going to come out and knock your teeth out, what are they talking about? They know the retaliation is almost something you guys want. Give me an opportunity to go back again. They must know that.
They're also psychologically enjoying the fact that Israelis are kind of on alert and waiting for this next Iranian attack and are nervous about it or, cautious about it. That said, they're an extreme group of people and I think the things that they say sometimes are kind of this opposite psychology thing where they actually are afraid, but they can't, in their eyes, in Middle Eastern, whatever, you want to show that you're strong. So that's their way of speaking up, showing their citizens that they're not weak.
So there's no doubt about it. They just, Trump is back in office. They're still trying with the assassination. Joe Biden's been holding you guys back. He's been very critical behind the scenes and concerned about his own electoral future, being critical at home.
I will just add that, yes, but the Biden administration also did assist Israel. They didn't ignore Israel. You know what I'm saying?
No one ever thought they were ignoring
presence. There's some people that would want them to not help, right? And
Kamala Harris would have been worse.
Woke Americans, right, are probably not happy about it. And yeah, she suffered from it.
Yeah, she suffered from it. Good luck with that. And what Trump did, you don't know this probably, but he went and met with the Arab leaders in Michigan. And he said, look,
I know
I'm
this.
for peace. He said, we're for peace. I'm not looking to start a war. We are going to back Israel.
So I'll tell you, a lot of Israelis are a bit nervous about, Trump. His track record when it comes to the Middle East and Israel is overwhelming, probably the most than any other American president has done for Israel. The question is this the same Trump, right? We spoke up before, we were on air about the Jewish, people surrounding Trump. It seemed that in 2016 there were a lot more, visible Jews around him advising.
Well, you don't even name one person.
Well, his son-in-law.
Well, no, but I'm saying he's got Susie Wiles.
He only named one person.
Only named one. He hasn't
no,
named
100%. But the campaign, right? His kids were involved, but you didn't see Jared and Ivanka, right? We did see them at the when he finally made his speech.
I think that they, as private citizens, they want to get back to private citizenship. Young family too.
Yeah,
took a lot of criticism. They weren't, in my opinion, they weren't used to it.
Right.
They were, pretty much they walked to the best parties with the best, most important people.
Right.
And Jared's family as well as his, that. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they were persona non grata in a lot of places. And they have young kids, and they thought, why am I doing this?
Right. But historically, this is not a very near history, close history. They did amazing things. Moving the American embassy to Jerusalem. No other president did it. Bipartisan, that was a thing in a campaign. Acknowledging the Golan Heights. The Abraham Accords is, I'm telling you, like any Israeli or American you'd tell that 10 years ago would be like, come on, what are you talking about?
Right.
So if that continues, that will be amazing. If the Saudi deal actually will happen, that's amazing. If we're able to end this war while Israel is strong, mm-hmm. that's amazing. But does he want us to continue this war? I think he kind of wants it to end.
Well,
we all do. But
you all do. But it's how it ends. It will actually decide when we'll start again.
100%.
So you have these hostages you want to get out. Now, if Hamas is really decimated, they'd make an offer to release all the hostages and try to put pressure on Netanyahu to act.
Right.
There's going to be so interesting to see if they're politically savvy enough to be able to work the refs.
Right. Interestingly, I just saw a report on Israeli news that an official in Qatar told the heads of Hamas in Doha that they're no longer, wanted. They're no longer
They're no longer welcome there.
Welcome.
They want Hamas out of Doha.
According to this report, it's a very initial report. I think that's interesting because there has been, people have been saying, why isn't America saying to them, you want to be our ally, get him out? Well,
there's a theory that you guys want somebody to talk to, and that you need somebody to talk to in a place that's not in the middle of Gaza.
I'm 100%. So I'm actually not one of those people. I was actually in Qatar a few months ago. I was one of the first Israeli journalists to go meet with the top leadership of Qatar. And it's a complex situation. I think diplomacy in general is complicated, right? Are they as, pro-Israel as you are, Brian? No. But they want to be Western, and they want to be acknowledged by the Western world.
They want to do business.
And they want to do business, and they want to be safe.
Right.
Right? They have tough neighbors as well. So, it's interesting.
Right, because they share land with Iran.
Yeah.
And they can't just say, Iran, you're the bad guys in this. That's going to be a problem.
Right.
Because obviously Iran will go to any lengths, and they don't care about the international rule.
And they don't have like an army as strong as we do. So it's they
don't even have. Do they have one?
I met the ambassador in Berlin, and he was part of their Air Force. So I assume there's something, but
right. So we have a situation where how was that the pager story? That is one of the most amazing stories we'll hear about in our lifetime.
I'm sure there'll be movies and books and what. I'm sure the smart people already finishing up those books and movie scripts.
The taking out of Hania at a guest house to welcome in a new president.
In Iran. Just eliminating him. Nobody else.
The Grand Ayatollah.
Crazy.
The Grand Ayatollah knows he's also next. And he's basically in hiding, pops out once in a while. And he's also sick.
Mm-hmm.
But is it true the Iranian population hates their government? Or is that too much of a broad statement?
I don't know enough, and also I think polling is probably problematic in Iran. Interestingly, there's a small Jewish community in Iran, and they speak up, whether they need to or they actually believe it, against the Zionist state, which is interesting.
Right, against you guys.
Yeah.
Self-preservation.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So Netanyahu right now, is his popularity going up?
So his popularity, at the beginning of the war, and we spoke at the beginning of the war, was very low. It's higher than it, I think, pretty much ever was because of all these operations you mentioned. The pagers and the elimination of Hania,
Nasrallah.
Nasrallah, 100%. That said, now firing Yoav Gallant, the Minister of Defense, on the eve of the American election, is a big deal. Many people went out to the streets. A lot of people are frustrated. Basically replacing him by someone who has no security qualifications whatsoever. And, I think also those who are more liberal, Gallant was kind of the more liberal one in the current Israeli government. So, they see this as a very dramatic moment.
There's no doubt about it. So I look at, the Israeli economy's got to function in order to finance this war. So how hard has that been?
It's dramatic. Listen, I mean, you have businesses falling apart. People don't usually notice this. I could say, so I'm 41, and I live in a neighborhood where, for a long time, most of my neighbors were not home for months, half a year, on and off, in reserve service. And these are people who are lawyers, work for the government, high tech, whatever, but or own little small businesses, and a lot of them are collapsing, and the amount of money spending on security is just overwhelming. So there's a real problem there.
So I guess so you got to get that going,
and no tourism,
right?
No tourism. It's just here and there.
So we have a situation that's going to drag on, but you get the sense that people are going to make moves before Trump comes in. What are people telling you?
So interestingly, a number of people I spoke to said, there's an 8-week period now for Israel to, I wouldn't say do whatever it wants, but Trump is going to want to, Trump doesn't take any BS from anyone, and he's going to want to kind of get to the situation where he can end a war in an effective way. So if we want to attack Iran, it may be now.
Right. And do you have the weaponry you need?
Of course we do. To attack Iran? Iran?
You think you do?
We were so easy. And listen, I told you, 4 hours, and nothing. They all came back. All the airplanes came back. There was no, casualties. No one was injured. That's crazy. And this was a very restrained attack.
So the sense is you might have a window of opportunity.
100%.
And then it was explained to me that you guys do have enough what it takes to do some serious damage on the nuclear program. Some said you didn't without our help, but our help would actually destroy it.
Right, 100%.
And wouldn't that help the whole region?
The question is, would there be that help? It's an interesting question. I don't have an answer for that.
But
at the moment,
do you think most of the region will be for getting rid of it? After all, nobody wants Iran to have it.
Right. So here's the question: do you go all out, or do you actually go and let's say destroy their oil, and then their economy will fall apart? That's another voice.
And it's vulnerable. There's no protection for that oil.
No.
Do you think that this might not be your area of expertise, but does it affect your oil market? Does it affect the world oil market if 100%. Iran goes offline?
100%.
Even though they're not going to capacity and there's heavy sanctions?
It already has an effect. And just the fact that the Houthis in the Mediterranean or whatever, control a huge amount of sea area, prices are going up in Europe and in Israel and other places because you have to, instead of shipping, you fly it over, but that's more expensive.
Why is it so hard to neutralize the Houthi rebels? You guys hit them hard. We've hit them before.
Yeah,
UK's hit them.
But it's very kind of, I feel like it's
surgical?
Here and there type thing. I mean, the question is, how many fronts can you actually win effectively?
Right. But you can't move
it doesn't seem like they're the most, I would say, the biggest or the most successful terrorist group out there, but they definitely are, making their rounds.
Well, but yeah, you guys did. I thought you eviscerated them, but I guess that didn't happen. Lastly, you with Hezbollah, the goal was to keep you guys at bay and stop the Iranians from to stop you from blowing up the Iranians' nuclear program. Hezbollah said, "Hey, we got long-range missiles. We're going to rain them on Tel Aviv. You're not going to be able to stop it."
Right.
Well, the word is, over the last few months, you've done a heck of a job in eliminating their long-range missiles, which would essentially leave Iran totally naked with their program.
Right. But
this seems to be a very unique window of opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think there really is a window of opportunity now. The question is what the American administration is going to do or not do. They've been very clear, most of these attacks saying we haven't been involved, or we knew, or we didn't know. Usually they say we didn't know, or we were updated like a second before. It's a big question, and I don't know if Biden has the bandwidth for that at the moment.
Zvika Klein, thanks so much. Pick up the Jerusalem Post. Definitely read it online to find out the latest on what the whole world is looking at. He's over as editor. Zvika, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you.